Hey friends, welcome to a mesmerizing journey through time, where a shepherd boy rises to become the king of kings. From the dusty trails of ancient Persia to the windswept steppes of Central Asia, from the golden markets of Babylon to the moonlit gardens of Pasargadae, we'll follow Cyrus the Great, a man fated by prophecy to escape death and forge an empire that shook the world. Born to a humble cradle, raised among shepherds as Herodotus whispers, this destined ruler wove conquest, mercy, and cunning into a realm stretching from Anatolia to India. Was he truly spared by divine will to become Shahanshah, or did his genius craft the myth? Picture the crackle of sacred fires, the rustle of desert winds, and the weight of a crown that united millions. Your heart stirs with the mystery of his rise. These tales, etched in clay by the Cyrus cylinder and sung by Xenophon, brim with valor, intrigue, and whispers of destiny. Let's unravel the enigma together. Hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell if you're captivated by this epic saga. Drop a comment to share where you're tuning in from and what time it is there. It's thrilling to connect with you across the globe. Now, dim the lights, let a soft breeze hum through an open window, sink into your cozy blankets, relax your shoulders, and think of a moment when you felt truly inspired. Let the gentle murmur of wind and the flicker of firelight guide you. Step aboard our time machine, and let's embark on tonight's adventure. Stand on the vast steppe of the Massagetes, where cold winds howl, nomad hooves thunder, and Cyrus the Great, the shepherd turned Shahanshah, faces his final test under the gaze of Ahura Mazda. Can you picture yourself standing on the windswept highlands of ancient Persia, where dry earth crumbles under your sandals, and the sharp scent of wild herbs mixes with smoke from distant campfires? It's around 600 BCE, and the Near East buzzes like a Reddit thread gone viral. Crumbling empires and restless kingdoms, all vying for the top spot on history's trending page. Seriously, it was a mess. A total dumpster fire of a continent, but in a very historical way. The air hums with the clink of bronze from far-off forges, the mournful howl of Zagros winds, whispering of a king destined to rise. No Google Maps to guide you, just starlight and a prayer your camel doesn't wander into bandit DMs. Navigating this chaotic world? Like trying to post a viral LinkedIn update during a server crash, but instead of likes, you're dodging swords and betrayal. Be thankful your nights are spent with Netflix and a cozy blanket, not scanning the horizon for raiders plotting their next raid, as the stage was set for Cyrus the Great to rise from shepherd to king of kings. And just like that, the history books got a new main character. The Near East before Cyrus the Great was a land of shattered dreams and blood-soaked ruins. The mighty Assyrian Empire fell in 612 BCE, its capital Nineveh reduced to ash and screams by a vengeful alliance of Medes and Babylonians, leaving a power vacuum that echoed with betrayal across the highlands and rivers. Four great powers rose from the chaos: Medes with its fortress-crowned Ecbatana, Lydia gleaming with gold from the Pactolus River, Babylon hiding behind its impregnable walls, and Egypt flourishing along the Nile's eternal flow. Yet each was rotten with corruption, religious feuds, and economies teetering on stolen tribute. You know, the usual stuff. Nothing to see here. You tread the rocky trails of Persia, a humble vassal under Medes, where the warm scent of dusty leather and blooming jasmine lingers. The simple life of herding a stark contrast to Lydia's glittering coin-minting markets. This fractured world, teetering on a knife's edge, was the crucible that forged Cyrus the Great, a leader destined to seize history's spotlight. Ruling in such chaos? Like trying to mod a Discord server where every faction's spamming memes and plotting coups. As the sacred fires of Elam flicker under starlit skies, could a shepherd boy from a forgotten corner of Anshan rewrite the fate of empires? Could you envision being born under the starry skies of ancient Anshan, where the flickering flames of sacred Zoroastrian fires dance across the rugged Zagros hills, and the distant thunder of Persian tribal horses hums of empires yet to rise? It's around 600 to 590 BCE, and the Near East buzzes like a chaotic TikTok livestream, with crumbling empires and scheming kingdoms clashing for clout. The cool night breeze weaves the scent of sun-baked clay and blooming jasmine, the soft crackle of campfires pulling you into a haze of ancient mystery. No 23andMe or Ancestry apps to chart your fate, Just oral tales and a prayer you don't end up on a tyrant's hit list. Growing up in such drama? Like trying to survive a Twitter feud with no mute button, but with thrones and prophecies instead of trending hashtags. Be grateful your nights are spent with Netflix, not dodging royal assassins. Yet for Cyrus the Great, those humble roots spun a legacy of unity and justice that shook the world. And let's be real, his origin story is way more dramatic than any reality TV show you've ever watched. The world into which Cyrus the Great was born was one of profound instability, a fertile ground for a destined leader. In the late 7th century BCE, the Neo-Assyrian Empire collapsed in 612 BCE after the siege of Nineveh by a Medes-Babylon coalition, leaving a power vacuum that pitted emerging powers like Medes under the harsh rule of Astyages, Lydia with its arrogant king Croesus, Babylon plagued by religious discontent under Nabonidus, and Egypt isolated under Amasis against each other. Persia, a modest vassal state in the Fars region under Mede's shadow, simmered with aspirations for independence. You tread Anshan's harsh plains, the arid wind stinging your face, the sharp tang of dusty leather and livestock filling your lungs, as whispers of rebellion stir among the tribes. This fractured world, teetering on a knife's edge, was the crucible for Cyrus the Great's birth around 600 to 590 BCE, priming him to stitch the Near East together. Being born in such chaos? Like joining a Discord server mid-meltdown, where every faction's spamming and you're destined to take the mod role. You're a newborn in the royal household of Anshan around 600 to 590 BCE. The warm glow of a sacred fire illuminating the simple clay walls, the scent of incense and fresh wool cradling you, your tiny cries echoing in the night like a herald of change. Cyrus the Great, or Kurush, hailed from the noble Achaemenid lineage, traced back to the legendary founder Achaemenes. As the son of Cambyses I, the unassuming yet shrewd king of Anshan, who maintained autonomy despite heavy tribute to Medes, and Mandane, daughter of Median king Astyages, Cyrus inherited a dual Persian-Median bloodline. This mixed heritage granted him legitimate claims to both thrones, a strategic edge he later used to rally disgruntled Median nobles like Harpagus during his rebellion around 552 BCE. Inheriting such a lineage? Like getting a DM claiming you're heir to two rival startups, but instead of stocks, you're handed a kingdom and a viral hashtag to conquer. It's basically the ultimate power-up. As a child in Anshan, you roam the narrow valleys around 590 BCE, rough stones grazing your bare feet, the crisp scent of mountain air mixed with cedar smoke sharpening your senses, your heart racing during hunts with the elders. Anshan, Cyrus's homeland, was a land of jagged peaks, sun-scorched plateaus and brutal winters, where Persian tribes thrived as semi-nomads, herding horses and sheep, and coaxing crops through ancient qanats inherited from the Elamites. This rugged world forged young Cyrus the Great's mastery of horsemanship, archery, and guerrilla tactics, skills that powered his cavalry in battles like Pasargadae in 550 BCE and Sardis in 546 BCE. The tribal life, with its communal hunts and fire festivals, taught him to bind clans like the Pasargadae and Marafi into loyal allies. Growing up in such grit, like grinding XP in an open-world RPG, but it crafts empires, not just content. See, history is just a long video game. You sit by a sacred flame in Anshan, the heat warming your face around 585 BCE, the hypnotic crackle and scent of burning cedar drawing you into ancient rituals, your mind absorbing tales of divine justice. The early Zoroastrian faith, worshipping Ahura Mazda as the god of truth and righteousness, profoundly shaped Cyrus the Great's worldview, emphasizing the battle between Gusha and evil, Druj. Priests, known as Magi, conducted fire ceremonies that reinforced his belief in kingship as a duty to uphold justice and protect the people. This philosophy influenced his tolerant policies later, such as the Cyrus Cylinder in 539 BCE, which proclaimed religious freedom, and the Edict of Restoration in 538 BCE, allowing exiled Jews to return to Jerusalem, earning him the title of Messiah in the Bible's Isaiah 45. Embracing such teachings, like binging a TED Talk on ethics, but with eternal flames and cosmic stakes. As a hidden child in the hills, according to ancient legends, you play among shepherds around 590 BCE, the dust rising under your feet, the earthy smell of phlox and wildflowers surrounding you, your laughter innocent yet commanding. Herodotus recounts the famous myth. Astyages dreamed that Mandane would birth a vine overtaking Asia or a flooding river, foretelling Cyrus's overthrow. Fearing this, he ordered Cyrus's death at birth. But Harpagus entrusted the infant to a shepherd named Mithridates, who raised him secretly after swapping him with a stillborn child. At age 10, Cyrus was discovered during a game where he played king, ordering the whipping of a noble's son, leading Astyages to recognize him. Though spared, Astyages unleashed a grim vengeance on Harpagus, forcing him to feast on his own son's flesh, a betrayal that fueled Harpagus's defection in the Battle of Pasargadae. These tales, though woven with drama, are likely folklore to glorify Cyrus's rise, like a Hollywood biopic with too much CGI. Yeah, that's just a little bit messed up. You hear whispers of divine origins around the tribal fires, the night air thick with mystery around 580 BCE, the glow of stars overhead like cosmic lights, the scent of roasting meat blending with sacred incense. Persian folklore, echoed in later epics, paints Cyrus the Great as touched by gods like Vayu, the wind deity, fueling his lightning-fast campaigns, like the winter assault on Sardis in 546 BCE or crossing the Tigris at Opis in 539 BCE. Some tales claim celestial lights flared at his birth, or sacred falcons soared above, read by Magi as Ahura Mazda's favor. Though mere myths, akin to legends of Moses or Romulus, they crowned Cyrus as a divinely chosen ruler, rallying troops and subjects alike. You stand with young Cyrus on Anshan's plains, the sun rising over the Zagros around 570 BCE, the fresh dawn breeze carrying scents of dew-kissed earth, your resolve strengthening as tribal councils convene. His birth amid Near Eastern turmoil was the spark for his ambitions. The post-Assyrian power vacuum and weaknesses of Medes, Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt offered opportunities for unification. Cyrus's dual bloodline provided legitimacy to absorb Medes as partners, not foes, while the Achaemenid prestige unified Persian tribes into a formidable force of mounted archers. Anshan's harshness forged his warrior spirit, and Zoroastrian ideals shaped his just rule, as seen in his diplomatic assemblies where he promised freedom and equity. Legends of divine protection lit his aura, drawing allies like moths to a flame, as seen in Babylon, where he was hailed as Marduk's chosen in a hype video for the ages. You depart Anshan's hills, the sacred fires glow fading into twilight, the scent of wild herbs fading softly, a gentle peace enveloping you like a whispered lullaby. Cyrus the Great, born around 600 to 590 BCE, in a chaotic Near East, drew from his Persian Median heritage and Achaemenid lineage to unify Iranic peoples. Anshan's rugged forge built and honed his martial prowess, while Zoroastrianism instilled his tolerant vision, evident in the Cyrus Cylinder and Edict of Restoration. Myths of Astyages' dreams and divine blessings, though folklore, cast him as fate's chosen, fueling his army's devotion like a viral TikTok saga. Be glad your backstory doesn't involve dodging prophetic hitmen. Though as you drift off, dream of those ancient plains where a boy's origins launched an empire that still trends in history's feed. Can you picture yourself galloping across the sun-scorched plains of Anshan, where the wind howls through the Zagros mountains and the sacred fires of Ahura Mazda flicker softly on tribal tents? It's around 590 BCE, and the Near East pulses like a chaotic TikTok FYP, with warring kingdoms and fragile alliances battling for history's top trend. The air hums with the scent of dusty leather and roasting lamb, the distant clatter of hooves on rocky paths weaving a warrior's rhythm. No group chats to rally your squad, just the wail of tribal horns and a prayer your courage outshines your fears. Leading hunts in such a wild era? Like filming a survival vlog with no Wi-Fi. But your crew is a band of nomads, ready to rewrite the world. Be thankful your teenage years don't involve dodging tyrants' blades. Yet for Cyrus the Great, this rugged youth forged the spark of a king of kings. And if you ask me, his teenage angst was probably more about conquering an empire than about not getting invited to a party. In the turbulent world of Cyrus the Great's youth, chaos was both a challenge and an opportunity. The Neo-Assyrian Empire's collapse in 612 BCE left Medes, Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt vying for power, each weakened by internal strife. Anshan, a humble Persian vassal under the iron grip of Median king Astyages, simmered with dreams of independence. You stand in a tribal camp, the cool evening breeze carrying the musky aroma of wool and sacred incense, the flicker of firelight dancing on weathered faces as whispers of rebellion ignite. Born around 600 to 590 BCE to Cambyses I and Mandaean, Cyrus the Great carried the blood of both Persian and Median royalty, a spark that would light his rise. Growing up in such a volatile time, like modding a Discord server where every ping is a call to arms and you're destined to take the crown. It's the ultimate side hustle, really. You're a young hunter in Anshan around 585 BCE, gripping a bow as you track a boar through rocky valleys, the sharp sting of dust in your nostrils, the creak of your saddle steadying your heart. Anshan's harsh landscape, jagged peaks, arid plains and vital Qanat channels molded Cyrus the Great into a skilled horseman and archer, his agility later key in battles like Pasargadae in 550 BCE. Folklore whispers he once mediated a dispute over Qanat water rights, charming two clans to share for mutual gain, a glimpse of his diplomatic genius. These hunts, facing lions or boars, taught him to lead and rally, binding tribes like the Pasargadae. Mastering such skills, like grinding XP in an open-world RPG, but your level-ups build empires, not just avatars. You kneel by a sacred fire during a tribal festival around 580 BCE, the heat warming your cheeks, the rich scent of burning cedar and chanted prayers to Ahura Mazda filling the air, your spirit lifted by tales of cosmic justice. The Zoroastrian faith shaped young Cyrus the Great, instilling the principle of Asha, truth and righteousness, that guided his later humane policies, like freeing Babylon's captives in 539 BCE. The Magi, as tales spin, saw omens in the flames, proclaiming Cyrus chosen by Ahura Mazda, though such stories were likely woven to fuel loyalty. The spiritual core set him apart from tyrants like Astyages. Learning from holy fires, like binging a mindfulness podcast but with eternal flames and cosmic stakes. You stand in the shadowed halls of Ecbatana around 58 to 575 BCE, the cool marble underfoot, the faint tang of polished bronze and sacred oils sharpen the air, your pulse racing as Cyrus the Great spars verbally with Median nobles. As Astyages' grandson, Cyrus likely visited the Median capital, sizing up its fractured court and cruel rule. A tale claims he outshone peers in debates on leadership, earning awe but stoking Astyages' dread of prophecy. Stories whisper he hosted fire rituals to claim divine favor, a cunning move to sway allies like Harpagus. Navigating such intrigue, like outsmarting a corporate Zoom call where everyone's scheming, but you've got the killer pitch. And let me tell you, his pitch deck was probably just a map and a sharp sword. You sit with tribal chieftains in Anshan around 565 BCE, torchlight flickering on rugged faces, the savory scent of roasted lamb and dust settling around you, your resolve firm as Cyrus the Great speaks of unity. His diplomacy, honed in resolving disputes like those over grazing lands, rallied clans like the Meraphii. A local tale claims he settled a feud over a valley's pastures, promising shared riches, a preview of his empire-binding vision. His simple life, sharing meals with warriors, sleeping under stars, built trust, rooted in Zoroastrian humility. Uniting tribes, like herding your group chat to pick a Netflix movie, but your goal is freedom, not just vibes. You ride beside Cyrus the Great in 559 BCE, the thunder of hooves on dry earth vibrating through you, the metallic tang of newly forged spears sharp in the air, your heart racing as he claims Anshan's throne. Succeeding Cambyses I, Cyrus unified the Persian tribes with his Achaemenid prestige and promises of justice, forging a nimble army of mounted archers for the rebellion of 552 BCE. Legend spins of a grand feast where he invoked Ahura Mazda's blessing to sway chieftains, though this may be propaganda to hype his rise. Leading such a force? Like launching a Kickstarter campaign, but your backers wield bows and believe you're trending with destiny. You linger in Anshan's twilight, the sacred fires dimming, the scent of wild sage fading softly, a gentle calm wrapping you like a woven shawl. Cyrus the Great's youth, from hunts to Ecbatana's halls, crafted a leader of courage, wit, and justice. Anshan's ruggedness honed his martial skills, Zoroastrianism shaped his humane vision, and alliances with figures like Harpagus sparked his rebellion. Though tales of omens and feasts are likely folklore, they painted him as a destined king, rallying tribes to forge the Achaemenid Empire like a viral saga that never leaves the feed. Be glad your coming of age didn't involve outwitting empires. Drift off now, dreaming of those ancient plains where a young warrior's ambition lit an eternal spark. Can you imagine rallying a rebellion on the windswept heights of the Zagros Mountains, where the smoke of war camps stings your nostrils, and the wild neigh of war horses hums with whispers of destiny? It's 552 BCE, and the Near East crackles like a chaotic Instagram live, with tyrannical kings and restless tribes vying for history's spotlight. The night air pulses with the tang of burning pitch and polished spears, the ground shaking under galloping hooves as murmurs of defiance echo through hidden valleys. No TikTok trends to spark your cause, just the flicker of sacred fires and a prayer your allies don't ghost you. Planning a revolt in such a brutal era? Like pitching a startup on Shark Tank, but your pitch is freedom, and the stakes are empires. Be glad your battles end with a Netflix binge, not a cavalry charge. For Cyrus the Great, this uprising forged the Achaemenid Empire, crowning him the Shahanshah, King of Kings. And just so you know, the King of Kings title is way cooler than any CEO title out there. The world of Cyrus the Great's rebellion was a cauldron of discontent. Under Astyages' cruel grip, the Median Empire ruled the Iranian plateau, its capital, Ecbatana, a fortress of power, yet riddled with dissent. Heavy tributes, horses, grain, soldiers, crushed vassal states like Anshan, fueling anger among Persian tribes like the Pasargadae and Marafii. You stand in a war camp, the sharp tang of smoke and dusty leather in the air, torchlight flickering on weathered faces as whispers of rebellion flare. Herodotus tells us how Astyages' cruelty, forcing his loyal general Harpagus to feast on his own son's flesh, turned allies into traitors, handing Cyrus a wedge to split the Median court. With rivals like Lydia and Babylon distracted by their own drama, Cyrus seized this moment to rise. Plotting against a tyrant? Like starting a Twitter feud with a dictator, but your clapbacks are swords, not shade. Basically, he played the long game and won. You gather with tribal chieftains in Anshan in 553 BCE, the cool desert air thick with the scent of roasted lamb and sacred herbs, the crackle of a communal fire steadying your nerves as Cyrus the Great unveils his vision. At a historic council near Persepolis, he rallied the Pasargadae, Merafi and Masbii, offering gifts of war horses and woven cloaks to seal their loyalty, as ancient tales claim. His Persian Median heritage framed him as a rightful unifier, while secret messages from Harpagus, burning with vengeance, promised Median defections. A legend spins of Cyrus comparing Median oppression to a life of toil, promising riches like a viral TED Talk that lights a revolution. Forging such alliances? Like building a hype squad on Discord, but your team's ready to storm a fortress, not just drop emojis. You ride through Zagros' hidden passes in 552 BCE, the wind sharp with the scent of pine and sweat-soaked wool, the clink of arrows in quivers a steady beat as Cyrus the Great drills his army. The rugged terrain, narrow defiles, steep ridges, secret oases, became his greatest ally, cloaking his nimble force of light cavalry and archers. He built hidden granaries and supply posts, ensuring his troops could strike and vanish without leaning on Ecbatana's supply lines. A Zoroastrian priest, as tales whisper, saw victory in the sacred flames, proclaiming Cyrus chosen by Ahura Mazda, though such stories were likely spun to rally his men. Outmaneuvering an empire? Like speedrunning a strategy game on Twitch, but your glitches exploit mountains, not pixels. You charge into battle near Pasargadae in 550 BCE, the earth trembling under hooves, the choking smoke of decoy campfires clouding the dawn, your heart pounding as Cyrus the Great springs his trap. Facing Astyages' army, 20,000 to 30,000 strong, with heavy cavalry and war chariots, Cyrus's lean force of 10,000 to 15,000 used deception and terrain. He faked a retreat, luring Medes into a narrow valley where archers rained arrows from ridges, blood and dust staining the earth. Tales claim he lit hundreds of decoy fires and left fake supply wagons stuffed with rocks, tricking Medes into looting nothing but rubble. Harpagus' betrayal sealed it. His troops defected mid-battle, that shattering Median ranks like a glass dropped in a quiet room. Leading such a gambit? Like pulling off a heist in a Netflix thriller, but your crew wields bows, not blueprints. I mean, seriously, this guy was a genius. You stand victorious at Pasargadae, the dust settling over fallen banners, the faint scent of blood and cedar lingering, as Cyrus the Great spares Astyages' life. Rather than execute him, Cyrus confined the fallen king to a modest palace, treating him with respect, as ancient tales recount. A story claims he hosted Astyages for a feast, a diplomatic flex that won over Median nobles. This mercy, rooted in Zoroastrian justice, turned foes into allies, cementing the Achaemenid Empire's birth in 550 BCE. Showing such leniency? Like forgiving a toxic streamer, but you've just toppled their empire. You walk Pasargade's rising gardens, the twilight air sweet with blooming jasmine, the soft hum of builders' tools echoing as Cyrus the Great crowns himself Shahanshah. His new capital, blending Persian simplicity with Median grandeur, became a symbol of unity, its palaces and fire temples hosting rituals to Ahura Mazda. He integrated Medes as partners, adopting their administration while introducing satrapies and swift horse relays. A legend claims Magi hailed him as divinely chosen under a starry sky, though such tales were likely spun to hype his rule. Building such a capital? Like designing a startup HQ for a Forbes cover, but your logo's carved in stone and spans continents. With the smoke of decoy campfires fading over Pasargadae, what conquests await a king bold enough to challenge the world's mightiest realms? From the rugged trails of Anshan, where a shepherd boy dreamed under starlit skies, could Cyrus the Great's cunning forge an empire to rival the gods? Renowned for ambushes sharper than desert winds and a heart that turned foes into allies, Cyrus wove a realm from Anatolia's golden cities to India's distant rivers. Picture the icy sting of Cappadocia's winds at Tyria, the ripple of Babylon's diverted rivers, the blood-soaked steppe where nomad hooves thundered. Your heart races with the echo of his name. No TikTok trends to rally his cause, just the flicker of sacred fires and a vision that burned across ages. Outsmarting empires, like dropping a viral Instagram reel to conquer the algorithm, but with arrows, not filters. Be glad your battles don't demand lances in the frost. For Cyrus the Great, these conquests, from Thapsacus to the Massagetei, carved his legend as Shahanshah, the King of Kings. Having bound Central Asia's deserts to his empire, could Cyrus the Great now shatter the iron phalanx of Greek hoplites with wits sharper than their spears? Picture yourself on the Thapsacus River plain, the sunset staining the water's crimson, its restless ripples blending with the clash of bronze and the guttural roars of Greek mercenaries. It's 547 BCE, and Cyrus, his eyes blazing like the sacred flames of Ahura Mazda, leads his Persian army against Lydia's elite hired swords. The air hums with river mist, burning pitch and dusty earth, your pulse racing as a visionary king dares to defy the West's might. Renowned for weaving cunning with compassion, Cyrus turned foes into allies, his conquests forging an empire across continents. No TikTok trends to rally your troops, just the flicker of campfires and the hope your strategy trends in history's feed. Outsmarting a phalanx? Like crafting an Instagram reel that outshines a rival's post, but with blood and arrows instead of likes. Be glad your battles don't involve outwitting a phalanx in the fog. For Cyrus, the Battle of Thapsacus etched his legend as a titan of war and mercy. You trek with Cyrus the Great across Anatolia's rugged plains, the air thick with dust and the scent of sweat-soaked leather, the Thapsacus River's mist curling under a fiery sky. It's 547 BCE, and Cyrus, fresh from taming Bactria's nomads, leads 12,000 to 15,000 warriors, Persian light cavalry, Median archers and infantry, hundreds of miles from Iran's highlands to Lydia's heart. The journey tests endurance. Dry winds chap lips, muddy paths clog boots, and dwindling grain sacks weigh heavy on weary shoulders. You hear the creak of ox carts, the low murmurs of Median troops, their loyalty kindled as Cyrus shares sparse rations under twilight, the distant lap of river waves pulsing like a warrior's drum. He was basically the best manager you could ask for. A tale whispers he paused on a hill overlooking the Thapsacus, raising his sword to vow, "Their shields may be iron, but our will burns brighter," though such words likely gild his vision. Cyrus's genius shines as he pores over scout reports, predicting Croesus's moves with uncanny precision, his Mede spies mapping Lydian camps in the fog. The march braves river mists, scouts dodging Lydian patrols, their bronze helmets glinting in rare sunlight. Imagine coordinating that without a single WhatsApp group. Villagers, swayed by silver and tales of Persian justice, offer grain, and Cyrus pays generously, sowing goodwill. A tale whispers of him kindling a sacred fire by the river, its flames leaping as he prayed to Ahura Mazda. The silence of his men, a testament to his aura. Though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Marching through fog, like filming a Netflix thriller with no script, but your prize is an empire's edge. You stand before Lydia's battle lines, the air heavy with river mist and polished bronze, the stomp of hoplite boots and the ripple of Thapsacus waters echoing like a gathering storm. King Croesus's army, 10,000, 15,000 strong, with 5,000, 8,000 Greek hoplites, defends the plain, their phalanx a wall of shields and spears, backed by Lydian cavalry. Lydia's wealth, drawn from Pactolus gold, arms hoplites in heavy armor, their discipline unmatched. The ground squelches underfoot, slick with mud, the fog cloaking hills where Persian archers struggle with damp bowstrings, their breath misting in the chill. No HBO saga could match this raw tension. The river's banks and open plain favor the phalanx, a silent taunt to Persian mobility. Herodotus tells us Croesus, cocky with his mercenaries, thought his hoplites untouchable, their captains boasting of crushing barbarian riders. A tale whispers their jeers drifted through the mist, firing Cyrus's resolve to flip the script. Facing such a wall of shields? Like trying to crack a TikTok algorithm with one post, but your weapon's cunning, not clout. You huddle in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight flickering on weathered faces, the lapping of river waves and the distant clank of hoplite shields mingling with murmurs of doubt as he crafts a masterstroke. Croesus's force, with 5,000, 8,000 hoplites and 3,000 cavalry, thrives on the plain, their phalanx a fortress of bronze. Harpagus, his voice hoarse, urges fortifying the riverbank, citing the phalanx's might. But Cyrus, his eyes alight like sacred flames, rejects caution, declaring as tales spin, no shield wall can cage Persia's fire. No Instagram live to hype his defiance, just the weight of his vision. Honestly, that's a quote for the ages. His brilliance unfolds as he dissects the phalanx's rigidity, ordering spies to sow dissent among hoplites with promises of gold. Cyrus sent letters to Greek captains, offering honor and wealth, shaking their loyalty to Croesus. A tale whispers he rallied his men with a fire ritual, its smoke curling skyward as he prayed to Ahura Mazda, the scent of pitch mingling with awe, though this likely stoked morale more than divine favor. No TikTok filter could capture that blaze. The tent buzzes, engineers sketch rafts, scouts map riverbanks, and Cyrus paces, weaving strategies from Bactria's lessons. Outsmarting a phalanx? Like dropping a viral X post that flips a rival's base, but your algorithm's pure genius. You brace for dawn on the Thapsacus plain, the air choked with fog and bloodlust, the scream of Lydian horses and the thud of hoplite spears piercing the haze, as Cyrus unleashes his daring gambit. In a heart-pounding strike, Cyrus leads 2,000 cavalry through the river's mist, their hooves muffled, a Greek spear grazing his armor as he charges a hoplite flank. You hear the frantic clash of bronze, the twang of Persian bows, the mud sucking at boots as cavalry darts back, your heart pounding as Cyrus's horse rears, his cloak torn by a spear's edge. Herodotus recounts how he used camels to scatter Lydian cavalry, their stench driving horses into chaos, shredding Croesus's wing. His 6,000 archers perched on low hills, loose volleys, felling 500 to 1,000 hoplites, their shields buckling under a storm of arrows, blood pooling in the mud. The air grows thick with blood, mist, and burning pitch from scattered fires, the screams of breaking ranks mingling with the river's roar. No Spotify war anthem could match this carnage. Cyrus's inverted crescent tactic lures the phalanx forward, his cavalry closing like a vice. A tale claims he rallied his men mid-battle, his voice cutting through the fog, sparking a charge that shattered hoplite lines like glass. The clash rages hours, the fog swirling like vengeful spirits, as Lydian lines collapse, leaving 2,000, 3,000 dead or captured. No Instagram stories to capture the frenzy. Cyrus, from a muddy knoll, signals with tattered banners, his calm defying the slaughter, his genius paving the way for Lydia's fall. Orchestrating such chaos? Like scripting an HBO finale that shocks the world. But your stage is a blood-soaked battlefield. You march toward Lydia's heart, the air heavy with torch smoke and anticipation, the Thapsacus's ripples glinting under moonlight, as Cyrus strikes at Croesus's lifeline with unmatched audacity. In a daring night raid, Cyrus leads 500 cavalry to torch Lydian supply wagons, their flames lighting the dark as guards flee in panic. You hear the crackle of burning carts, the panicked neighs of horses, the faint clink of armor in the shadows, your breath catching as Cyrus's sword flashes, cutting down a Lydian captain. Herodotus tells us he poisoned a stream with dead livestock, starving hoplites of water, forcing desertions that gutted Croesus's ranks. His masterstroke comes as he sends envoys to wavering hoplites, their whispered offers of gold and glory flipping hundreds to his side. A tale spins of a Greek captain, awed by Cyrus's mercy, kneeling with his shield as tribute, though this may be propaganda. The plain hums with Persian banners rising over captured camps. No eBay listing could rival that victory. Losses are modest, 1,000 to 1,500 Persian troops to hoplite spears, matched by Lydian casualties. As the phalanx crumbles, cutting supply lines, like hacking a Netflix server to derail a rival's stream, but your prize is a kingdom's heart. You walk Sardis's budding streets, the air alive with spice, clinking coins and merchant cheers, the clank of masons shaping new walls, as Cyrus's vision radiates. His mercy spares hoplite captives, recruiting them as allies, preserving Lydian trade. A tale spins of a Greek elder hailing him brother of honor, his bronze shield offered in reverence, though this may embellish his myth. Cyrus restores Sardis's markets, taxing Pactolus gold to fund roads, blending Persian and Greek art in palace designs. No Pinterest board could match that fusion. Herodotus recounts him entering Sardis amid flowers, his decrees freeing prisoners and honoring local gods, cementing loyalty across Ionia. His foresight in recruiting hoplites strengthens his army, their discipline shaping future campaigns. Lydia's gold and trade routes, linking Ionia to Persia, fuel Achaemenid coffers, like a CEO monetizing a YouTube empire across nations. The hoplites, once foes, now guard caravans, their valor woven into the empire's tapestry, sparking exchanges that echo into the Hellenistic era. Conquering without chains, like dropping a Netflix special that unites rival fandoms, but your stakes are empires, not views. You linger on the misty plains of Thapsacus, the air soft with river reeds, fading war cries and distant torchlight, the Anatolian hills whispering of an empire's dawn, as Cyrus's triumph lights the path to Sardis. His Thapsacus victory, blending camel tactics, supply raids, and unparalleled diplomacy, showcased his genius against Western might, shattering Croesus's hopes and paving the way for Lydia's fall. By honoring Greek valor and seizing trade routes, Cyrus forged a multicultural empire, his satrapy system stabilizing conquered lands. A tale spins of him vowing by the Thapsacus's banks, "We fight for unity, not conquest." The river's ripples echoing like a viral Reddit thread, though such tales likely romanticize his vision. Lydia's wealth, gold, horses, and Ionian ports fueled conquests like Babylon, while its hoplites shaped Achaemenid armies. Modern leaders can learn, strategize like his spy network, innovate like his camel ploy, unite like his mercy, turning rivals into partners. His humane conquests earned him Shahanshah, a king whose compassion trended across nations, no ex-post needed. In global strategy, late Cyrus, blend bold tactics with empathy, like a CEO launching a LinkedIn post to unite a fractured world. Be glad your battles don't involve outwitting a phalanx in the fog. Drift off now, dreaming of Thapsacus's riverbanks where Cyrus forged an immortal empire. As the Euphrates' waters settle under Cyrus's cunning, can his wit outmatch the gilded armies of Lydia's Croesus? Wait, hold on a second. I think we just got a little ahead of ourselves there. The Thapsacus battle was the key to conquering Lydia, not Babylon. Let's rephrase that last question to be a little more accurate. As the Thapsacus's waters settle under Cyrus's cunning, can his wit outmatch the gilded armies of Lydia's Croesus? You march with Cyrus through Cappadocia's rugged highlands, the crunch of frozen earth beneath your boots, the faint clink of Persian armor mingling with the smoky tang of campfires, as a shepherd-turned-king leads his weary warriors toward Pteria's clash. It's late 547 BCE, and Cyrus the Great, fresh from toppling Medes, leads 15,000 to 20,000 weary warriors, Persian horsemen, Median allies, and archers, over 1,000 kilometers from Anshan. The journey is brutal. Icy rains soak tattered cloaks, rocky paths tear boots, and dwindling grain sacks weigh heavy on morale. You hear the creak of cartwheels, the low murmurs of doubt among Medes still adjusting to Persian rule. Yet Cyrus rides among them, his voice steady, sharing sparse rations under starlit skies. A tale spins of him kindling a sacred fire on a windswept ridge, its warm glow casting shadows as he prayed to Ahura Mazda for strength, though such rituals likely rallied hearts more than gods. Harpagus, the grizzled Median general, scouts ahead, his loyalty forged in vengeance against past tyrants. Marching so far in winter? Like backpacking across a frozen continent with no Instagram to post your grit, but your prize is a kingdom, not a selfie. You reach Pteria's windswept plain, the air thick with the scent of muddy earth and polished bronze, the distant clang of Lydia's heavy cavalry echoing like thunder. King Croesus's army, 20,000, 30,000 strong, looms under a gray sky, their gilded armor glinting, their war horses snorting steam. Lydia, enriched by Pactolus gold and Silk Road trade, fields elite heavy cavalry, long-speared phalanxes of Greek mercenaries from Ionia, and archers, dwarfing Cyrus's lean force. The ground squelches underfoot, rain-soaked and treacherous, the mist cloaking hills where Persian archers struggle to aim. Cappadocia's open plains favor Lydia's armored horsemen, while its narrow valleys bog down Persian light cavalry. A tale whispers of a sudden gust sweeping the field, hailed by priests as Ahura Mazda's blessing, though it likely just chilled both sides to the bone. Facing such wealth and power? Like pitching a startup against a corporate titan on Shark Tank, but your team's armed with bows, not pitch decks. Honestly, this guy had some serious guts. You crouch in Cyrus's war tent, the flicker of torchlight dancing on grim faces, the howl of Cappadocia's wind rattling the canvas, as he plots against impossible odds. Croesus's force, bolstered by 8,000, 10,000 Greek hoplites and 5,000 heavy cavalry, thrives on direct charges, their bronze shields locked tight, their lances gleaming. Cyrus's army, with 6,000, 8,000 archers and 5,000 light cavalry, lacks heavy infantry, making a frontal clash suicidal. Harpagus urges caution, suggesting a retreat to regroup, but Cyrus's eyes burn with resolve. A tale spins of him raising his sword, declaring, "Croesus wields gold, but we wield fire." Likely a legend, yet it captures his defiance. I'd hang that quote on my wall for sure. He opts for cunning over brute force, sending 5,000 horsemen to raid Lydia's supply caravans at dawn, their hooves muffled by mist, cutting off grain and water, felling hundreds of guards. Herodotus tells us Cyrus perched archers on hills, their arrows hissing through fog to harass Lydia's ranks, while envoys, feigning peace talks, probed Croesus's plans. A tale whispers he smirked, saying, "Croesus holds gold, but I hold his mind," though such flair may gild the truth. Outwitting a richer foe? Like hacking a rival's playbook before a big Twitch stream, but your code's written in arrows. You stand on Tyria's plain at dawn, the rain drizzling cold on your skin, the screech of arrows slicing the air as Cyrus unleashes his gambit. As the sun pierces the fog, Croesus's heavy cavalry charges, their armored horses shaking the earth, aiming to crush Cyrus's center. You hear the clash of bronze shields, the panicked neighs of horses stunned by arrows, the mud sucking at boots as Persian riders dart back. Cyrus's archers, 6,000 strong, rain arrows from hilltops, their volleys targeting Lydia's steeds, felling 300 to 500 riders, blood soaking the sludge. The Greek phalanxes advance, their spears a bristling wall, but Cyrus orders a feigned retreat, luring Lydia's horsemen into a muddy valley. The ground turns to mire, slowing their charge, as Persian cavalry, 2,000 swift riders led by Cyrus himself, strike from a hidden ridge, their short bows singing, shredding armor like paper. A tale claims a sudden wind cleared the mist, seen as divine favor, though it likely just exposed more targets. The phalanxes hold firm, their discipline thwarting a rout, but Harpagus's Median riders hit Lydia's right flank, sowing chaos. By noon, both sides bleed, 2,000 to 3,000 fall, blood pooling in the mud. Plotting such a trap? Like choreographing a heist in a Netflix thriller, but your crew's wielding courage, not cameras. You brace through the afternoon's grind, the air heavy with the metallic tang of blood and wet leather, the clash of spears deafening as Cyrus holds his ground. Lydia's phalanxes, unshaken, press forward, their shields deflecting arrows, while their cavalry regroups for another charge. Cyrus's light infantry, 3,000 strong, harasses their flanks, darting in and out of gullies, but the muddy terrain slows everyone. The rain stings your face, the screams of wounded men echoing, as torchlight flickers in the gathering dusk, signaling a stalemate. Cyrus, seeing no decisive win and wary of winter's toll, orders an orderly retreat to northern hills, their slopes shielding his army. Croesus, battered by losses and fearing supply shortages, pulls back towards Sardis, believing the season will halt pursuit. Leading through such chaos, like running a marathon in a downpour on live Twitch, but your finish line's a kingdom's fate. You stand with Cyrus as twilight falls, the air sharp with mud and metal, the distant fires of Lydia's retreat fading as he makes a daring call. Rather than chase Croesus's battered army, Cyrus waits, letting his foe disband costly Greek mercenaries, as Herodotus tells us. This is where he really showed his genius. He rallies his men, bolstering supplies in hidden camps, then marches swiftly to Sardis. In 546 BCE, you hear the bellow of camels, deployed to spook Lydia's horses, a stroke of genius, shattering Croesus's cavalry in the final clash, blood and dust swirling like a storm. Sardis falls, its golden vaults seized, and Cyrus spares Croesus, inviting him to advise, as a tale spins, though this may polish his mercy. The victory floods Achaemenid coffers with Pactolus gold, weaves Ionia's Greek culture into the empire, and stretches Persian rule to the Aegean. Waiting for the perfect strike? Like timing a viral TikTok drop to dominate the algorithm, but your brand's an empire. You wander Sardis's conquered orchards, the air sweet with jasmine and cedar, the soft clink of builders' tools crafting palaces, as Cyrus's legacy shines. His restraint at Tyria, blending raids, deception, and patience, paved the way for Sardis, proving his genius against a richer foe. By honoring Lydia's customs and sparing its king, he forged a multicultural realm, setting the stage for Babylon's fall in 539 BCE. A legend spins of priests seeing victory in Tyria's wins, though such omens likely fueled his hype. His conquests, humane yet fierce, made him Shahanshah, a king whose empire spanned horizons. Be glad your strategies don't demand outwitting armies in the rain. Drift off now, dreaming of those icy plains where Cyrus carved an eternal legend. With frost crunching underfoot in Tyria's highlands, could Cyrus's next gambit topple the untouchable wealth of Sardis? You stand before Sardis's towering walls, the crimson sunset bathing Anatolia's hills, the clatter of Persian hooves mingling with the tang of wet leather and torch smoke as a shepherd-turned-king prepares his daring assault. It's 546 BCE, and Cyrus, a young king with eyes blazing like the sacred flames of Ahura Mazda, leads his army to besiege Lydia's golden heart. The air hums with the musk of wet leather and cedar smoke, the distant clash of bronze stirring your blood as a visionary dares to topple a titan. Renowned for cunning ploys and a heart that wove mercy with might, Cyrus turned foes into allies, his conquests forging an empire that reshaped the ancient world. No exposts to rally your cause, just the flicker of sacred fires and the hope your wits outshine gold. Outsmarting a wealthy empire? Like outwitting a tech mogul in a high-stakes deal, but with arrows instead of apps. Be glad your battles don't involve lances in the mud. For Cyrus, the siege of Sardis carved his name as a legend of strategy and justice. You trek with Cyrus across Anatolia's rugged trails, the wind slicing like a dagger, the damp fog from the Hermus River clinging to your cloak, the faint aroma of wet wool and smoldering campfires grounding your weary steps. It's early 546 BCE, and Cyrus leads 15,000 warriors, Persian light cavalry, Median allies, and archers, over 800 kilometers from Cappadocia, his gaze fixed on Sardis, Lydia's gilded capital. The journey tests endurance. Icy rain soak tattered boots, mountain passes crumble under hooves, and grain sacks dwindle, weighing heavy on hungry shoulders. You hear the creak of ox carts, the low murmurs of Median troops, their loyalty forged by Cyrus's words as he shares sparse rations under starless skies. A tale spins of him pausing on a hill, Sardis's golden walls glinting below, raising his sword to vow, Croesus thinks gold will save him, but Persia's fire shall prevail, though such words may embellish his resolve. Cyrus oversees logistics himself, ensuring water skins are filled from frozen streams, horses fed the last barley, his presence a beacon against the cold. He used Median spies to track Croesus's moves, their reports carried on swift hooves through misty valleys. The march braves blizzards that bury camps, scouts dodging Lydia's patrols, their bronze helmets flashing in rare sunlight. Villagers offer grain for silver, and Cyrus pays generously, planting seeds of loyalty. A tale whispers of him kindling a sacred fire before Sardis, its flames leaping as he prayed to Ahura Mazda, though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Marching through winter's grip, like hiking a frozen wilderness with no Google Maps, but your prize is a kingdom, not a vlog. Seriously, that's a whole other level of influencer. You stand before Sardis's impregnable walls, the air thick with rain-soaked earth and polished bronze, the distant thud of Lydia's war horses echoing like a brewing storm. King Croesus's army, 10,000, 15,000 strong, weakened after disbanding allies, defends a fortress perched on a steep hill, ringed by the Hermus River and sheer cliffs, its 80-foot walls gleaming under a gray sky. Lydia's wealth, drawn from Pactolus gold and trade with Ionia's Greek cities like Miletus and Ephesus, fields heavy cavalry and scale armor and local spearmen, though their Greek mercenaries are gone, dismissed in Croesus's hubris. The ground squelches underfoot, slick with mud, the fog-cloaking hills where Persian archers fumble with damp bowstrings, their breath misting in the chill. Sardis's cliffs and walls, built in Midas's era, mock Persian mobility, their moat a silent taunt. Herodotus tells us Croesus, misreading Delphi's oracle about destroying a great empire, believed winter would shield him, unaware his own kingdom was the target. A tale spins of Lydia's sentries jeering from the ramparts, calling Cyrus's men nomad rabble, their voices carried on the wind, stoking Persian fire. Facing such a fortress, like storming a corporate stronghold with a lean startup, but your weapons are cunning, not venture capital. You crouch in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight flickering on grim faces, the patter of rain on canvas mingling with whispers of doubt as he plots against a golden titan. Croesus's force, with 8,000 to 10,000 heavy cavalry and spearmen, thrives on charges across the plain before Sardis, their lances gleaming like rivers of gold. Cyrus's 15,000 troops, 6,000 to 8,000 archers, 5,000 light cavalry and median infantry, lack heavy armor, vulnerable to Lydia's horsemen or a prolonged siege. Harpagus, his voice rough from years of command, urges retreat until spring, citing rain-soaked terrain and towering walls. But Cyrus, his eyes burning like sacred flames, rejects caution, declaring, as tales whisper, no fortress can cage Persia's fire, though such words may gild his defiance. I mean, seriously, this is the kind of confidence that changes history. He opts for ingenuity, ordering scouts to probe the walls and cavalry to raid supply lines, cutting off grain from Cappadocian chieftains. Cyrus used Median spies to sow rumors of Persian reinforcements, unnerving defenders. A tale spins of him rallying his men with a fire ritual, its smoke curling skyward as he invoked Ahura Mazda, though this likely stoked morale more than divine favor. The tent hums with plans. Scouts map cliffs for weaknesses, quartermasters ration dried meat, and Cyrus paces, his mind weaving strategies from past campaigns. Outsmarting a fortified foe. Like hacking a rival's algorithm on X, but your code's written in courage. You brace for dawn on Sardis's plain, the rain drizzling like icy tears, the bellow of camels piercing the fog as Cyrus unleashes his gambit. Croesus, desperate to break the encirclement, launches 8,000 heavy cavalry from Sardis's gates, their hooves thundering, aiming to crush Persian lines. You hear the clash of lances, the panicked neighs of Lydia's horses spooked by strange scents, the mud sucking at boots as Persian riders dart back. Cyrus, anticipating this, deploys camels from his supply train at the front, their roars and stench sending Lydia's horses into chaos, unseating riders in a tangle of bronze and mud, as Herodotus recounts. His 6,000 archers, perched on low hills, loose volleys, felling 500 1,000 cavalry, while 5,000 light horsemen, led by Cyrus himself, strike the flanks, their short bows singing, shredding armor like paper. The air grows heavy with the metallic tang of blood and wet leather, the screams of fallen riders mingling with rain's patter. Lydia's spearmen advance, shields locked, but the muddy plain slows them, and Persian arrows find gaps, thinning their ranks by another 500. Harpagus's 3,000 median cavalry loop around the right, cutting off stragglers, though rain hampers their charge. The clash lasts hours, the fog swirling like vengeful spirits as both sides bleed, leaving 1,000 to 1,500 dead in the mire. Cyrus, from a muddy ridge, signals with sodden flags, his calm defying chaos. Plotting such a trap? Like staging a startup coup in a storm, but your plan's a masterpiece of nerve. You endure the 14-day siege, the air thick with damp stone and campfire smoke, the clatter of arrows against Sardis's walls echoing like a relentless drum as Cyrus tightens his grip. After the plains clash, Cyrus encircles Sardis, cutting supplies with nightly raids on Cappadocian caravans, his 2,000 light cavalry striking like specters in the fog, felling 1,000 to 2,000 defenders over days. The rain stings your face, the groans of hungry sentries atop the walls drifting down, as Persian archers snipe from cliffs, their arrows hissing through mist. Sardis's 80-foot walls and moat defy assault, but Cyrus orders relentless scouting, tasking Hieroides to find a flaw. A tale whispers of Lydia's taunts growing desperate, their voices cracking as hunger set in, while Cyrus shared rations, kindling fires to warm his men, their chants to Ahura Mazda echoing in the dark. Harpagus leads night raids, his Median riders torching outposts sowing fear. The siege grinds on, mud caking your boots, the distant clink of armor signaling Lydia's resolve, yet cracks appear. Cyrus walks among his troops, his cloak sodden, offering words of fire that quell despair, his vision unwavering. Maintaining such pressure? Like running a viral campaign under fire on X, but your currency's resolve, not likes. You stand in Sardis's shadow on the 14th night, the moon glinting off wet cliffs, the air sharp with tension and rain, as Cyrus seizes his moment. Hieroides, spotting a Lydia guard drop his helmet and climb down a cliff to retrieve it, reveals a hidden path, as Herodotus recounts. Cyrus, inspecting the route himself, orders 200 to 300 elite climbers to scale the slick rocks under darkness, their ropes taut, hearts pounding. You hear the scrape of boots on stone, muffled gasps as men slip but cling on, the distant snores of Lydia's guards unaware. The climbers breach the wall, opening a gate, and Persian troops flood in, their war cries shattering the night like thunder. Lydia's defenders, caught off guard, fall in brief clashes, losing 3,000, 5,000, while Persia's losses near 1,500 to 2,000, mostly from the climb. Croesus is captured alive, his golden throne toppled. A tale spins of Cyrus standing atop the walls, sword raised, proclaiming, "Under Ahura Mazda's gaze, we've made the impregnable ours," though such words may glorify his triumph. Scaling cliffs in the rain, like pulling off a heist in a hurricane on live Twitch, but your prize is an empire. You walk Sardis's conquered streets, the air sweet with jasmine and torch smoke, the clink of builders' tools shaping Achaemenid glory, as Cyrus's vision shines. His mercy spares Croesus, inviting him to advise, as Herodotus tells us, turning a foe into an ally. A tale spins of Croesus kneeling, saying, "I lost to a king greater in mercy than might," perhaps embellishing the moment. Cyrus preserves Lydia's trade, appointing satrap Pactyes to govern, ensuring Pactolus gold flows into Persian coffers. Ionia's Greek cities, Miletus, Ephesus, join the empire, their philosophers and artisans weaving Hellenic ideas into Achaemenid culture, sparking trade to the Aegean. A Greek legend whispers, Cyrus used Croesus' gold for a secret temple to Ahura Mazda at Pasargadae, though this likely fueled his myth as a divinely blessed king. Herodotus recounts Croesus advising against looting, saying, "The wealth is yours now," and Cyrus agreeing, protecting Sardis's markets, his wisdom cementing loyalty. The victory secures Anatolia, its gold and trade routes fueling future conquests like Babylon in 539 BCE. Conquering a fortress city? Like closing a deal that flips global markets, but your stakes are empires, not stocks. You linger in Sardis's twilight, the air soft with blooming orchards and distant chants, the rustle of leaves whispering of an empire's birth, as Cyrus's legacy endures. His Sardis triumph, blending camel tactics, patient siege, and daring climbs, showcased his genius against a richer foe. By sparing Croesus and honoring Lydia's ways, Cyrus built a multicultural empire, his satrapy system stabilizing diverse lands. A tale recounts Croesus advising on trade, his words shaping Achaemenid wealth, though this may polish the mercy that won loyalty. The conquest opened trade with Greece, Ionia's ideas sparking cultural exchange, laying seeds for the Hellenistic era. A legend whispers Cyrus stood on Sardis's walls, vowing, "We fight for justice, not gold." Though such words may romanticize his vision, modern leaders can learn. Innovate like his camel ploy, endure like his 14-day siege, unite like his mercy, turning rivals into partners. His humane conquests made him Shahanshah, a king whose compassion built loyalty where fear would spark revolt. Be glad your challenges don't involve storming fortresses in the rain. Drift off now, dreaming of Sardis's walls where Cyrus carved an immortal empire. As Sardis's gold glints under Cyrus's banner, what rebels lurk in the windswept steppes of Bactria, ready to test his might? Oh wait, we've already covered the Bactrian conquest, haven't we? My bad, let's fix that. As Sardis's gold glints under Cyrus's banner, what new rival awaits this king of kings on the dusty plains of Babylon? You tread the sun-scorched Kizilkum desert with Cyrus, the crunch of sand beneath your boots, the faint jingle of camel bells blending with the spice-laden breeze, as a shepherd-turned-king weaves diplomacy and steel to claim Bactria and Sogdiana's wild heart. It's 545 BCE, and Cyrus, his eyes blazing like the sacred flames of Ahura Mazda, leads his Persian army across the Hindu Kush toward the defiant lands of Bactria and Sogdiana. The air crackles with the grit of sand, the musky scent of camel hide, and the distant wail of nomad war cries. Your pulse racing as a visionary king dares to bind east and west. Renowned for blending might with mercy, Cyrus turned rebels into allies, his conquests forging an empire that spanned horizons. No Instagram reels to rally your nomads, just the flicker of sacred fires and the hope your strategy goes viral in history's scrolls. Outsmarting desert warriors? Like dropping a TikTok challenge that captivates a global crowd, but with arrows instead of likes. Be glad your battles don't involve dodging arrows in a sandstorm. For Cyrus, the campaign of Bactria Sogdiana carved his legend as a master of war and wisdom. You trek with Cyrus across the Kizilkum's searing sands, the air thick with dust and the tang of sweat-soaked leather, the Hindu Kush's jagged peaks looming under a blazing sky. It's 545 BCE, and Cyrus, after his victories in the west, leads 15,000-20,000 warriors. Persian light cavalry, Median allies, archers and engineers, thousands of miles from Pasargadae to the trade hubs of Samarkand and Balkh. The journey tests endurance. Scorching days burn skin, freezing nights chill bones, and dwindling water skins weigh heavy on parched throats. You hear the creak of camel saddles, the ragged gasps of Median troops, their loyalty kindled as Cyrus shares meager dates under starlit skies, the distant scream of desert winds echoing like nomad war horns. A tale spins of him pausing atop a Hindu Kush ridge, raising his sword to vow, "Deserts and mountains bow to no man, but they'll yield to Persia's fire," though such words may gild his vision. Cyrus oversees logistics, ensuring camels haul grain across dunes, scouts dig wells in cracked earth, his presence a beacon against the heat. Median spies map nomad trails, their reports carried through swirling sands. The march braves blinding dust storms, scouts dodging Saka ambushes, their bronze-tipped arrows flashing in rare moonlight. Imagine coordinating that without a single WhatsApp thread. Nomads, swayed by silver and promises of trade, offer water, and Cyrus pays generously, sowing loyalty. A tale whispers of him kindling a sacred fire on a dune, its flames leaping as he prayed to Ahura Mazda, though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Marching through deserts? Like filming a Netflix survival show with no camera crew, but your prize is a continent's crown. You stand before a Bactrian outpost, the air heavy with hot sand and polished bronze, the whinny of nomad horses and the faint hum of oasis reeds echoing like a brewing storm. The tribes of Bactria and Sogdiana, 5,000, 10,000 strong, led by Saka and Massagetei warriors, defend their lands with guerrilla tactics, their swift cavalry striking from dunes and vanishing into mountains. Their wealth, drawn from Silk Road trade and oasis farms, fuels light horsemen armed with composite bows, though they lack unified command. The ground crunches underfoot, gritty with sand, the heat hazing horizons where Persian archers fumble with dust-caked bows, their breath dry in the scorching air. No HBO epic to glorify the grind. The Hindu Kush's peaks and Kizilkum's dunes shield nomad ambushes, their paths a deadly maze. Herodotus tells us the Saka, fiercely independent, swore no king could chain them, believing their mobility unbeatable. A tale spins of their scouts mocking Cyrus's men as city dwellers, their jeers carried on the wind, stoking Persian resolve. Facing such elusive foes, like trying to pin down a viral TikTok star in a digital desert, but your weapon's strategy, not clout. You huddle in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight flickering on weary faces, the howl of desert winds and the rustle of oasis palms mingling with murmurs of doubt as he plots against untamed tribes. The nomads, 5,000 to 10,000 warriors with swift cavalry and archers, thrive in hit-and-run raids, outmatching Persia's 15,000 to 20,000 troops, 6,000 archers, 5,000 light cavalry, median infantry, and engineers. In mobility, Harpagus, his voice rough from dust, urges fortifying oases, citing the terrain's treachery. But Cyrus, his eyes alight like sacred flames, rejects caution, declaring as tales whisper, no desert or peak can cage Persia's fire. No Instagram stories to amplify his resolve, just the weight of his vision. He opts for diplomacy and guile, sending emissaries to sway smaller tribes with promises of Silk Road wealth. Cyrus offered nomad chiefs gold and autonomy, eroding their unity. A tale spins of him rallying his men with a fire ritual, its smoke curling skyward as he invoked Ahura Mazda, the scent of burning cedar mingling with hope, though this likely stoked morale more than divine favor. No TikTok duet could match that spark. The tent buzzes, engineers plan forts, scouts trace nomad routes, and Cyrus paces, weaving strategies from his Anatolian and Median campaigns. Outsmarting nomad tribes? Like crafting an X-post that flips a rival's followers, but your campaign's written in courage. You brace for a midnight ambush in the Kizilkum, the air choked with a sudden sandstorm's roar, the scream of Saka arrows slicing through the haze, as Cyrus leads a daring strike. In a heart-pounding gambit, Cyrus guides 2,000 elite cavalry through blinding sand, using nomad guides to strike a Saka camp. You hear the frantic clatter of hooves, the whistle of arrows grazing armor, the metallic flash of swords under moonlight, your heart pounding as Cyrus's horse rears, an arrow skimming his shoulder. The raid's chaos sees Persians seizing hundreds of horses, capturing a chief, and losing only a dozen men. The nomads' 3,000 riders counterattack, their war cries piercing the storm, but Cyrus's archers, hidden in dunes, loose volleys, felling 300 to 500 foes. The air grows thick with blood, dust, and cedar smoke from scattered fires, the clash of bronze echoing like a desert symphony. No Spotify playlist could capture this frenzy. In the Zeravshan Valley, Cyrus lures 2,000 Massagetes, led by Spargopises, into a trap with a decoy camp of wine and grain. The nomads feast, then fall to a Persian ambush, their cries drowned by wind as 1,000 perish. The skirmish rages, sand swirling like spirits, as nomad lines break, leaving 2,000, 3,000 dead or captured, no Instagram live to stream the chaos. Cyrus, from a rocky ridge, signals with tattered banners, his calm defying the fray. It's a masterclass in guerrilla warfare. Orchestrating such a trap? Like dropping an HBO cliffhanger that hooks a global audience, but your stage is a blood-soaked battlefield. You march towards Samarkand, the air heavy with oasis blooms and torch smoke, the Hindu Kush's peaks glowing under sunset, as Cyrus risks all to secure his empire. Defying a midnight rockslide, Cyrus leads 3,000 troops through a Hindu Kush pass, stones crashing inches away, to outflank a Saka stronghold. You hear the rumble of falling rocks, the panicked neighs of horses, the faint clink of armor under starlight, your breath catching as Cyrus presses on, his sword gleaming. After valley skirmishes, he orders forts built at oases, their stone walls rising under moonlight, securing trade routes. Herodotus tells us he used local labor, paying generously to win hearts, while engineers dammed streams to control water. You hear the clink of chisels, the splash of diverted streams, the muffled orders as builders toil, the scent of date palms mingling with dust. No Netflix special could dramatize this grit. Over months, Cyrus negotiates with Saka chiefs, sparing captives and offering trade rights, turning foes into satraps. A tale spins of a chief swearing loyalty after Cyrus shared wine under a desert moon, though this may be propaganda. The oases hum with new markets, Persian banners rising over mud brick forts. No eBay listing could rival that trade hub. Losses are modest, 2,000 to 3,000 Persian troops to ambushes, matched by nomad casualties, as Bactria and Sogdiana bow. building forts in deserts, like launching a TikTok shop in a digital wasteland, but your currency's vision. You walk Samarkand's budding streets, the air alive with spice, camel bells and merchant chatter, the clink of masons shaping forts as Cyrus's vision shines. His mercy spares defiant chiefs, appointing them satraps like Oxyartes, preserving nomad customs and trade. A tale spins of a Saka elder kneeling, calling him father of the sands, his camel bells ringing in reverence, though this may gild his myth. Cyrus restores oasis markets, taxing Silk Road caravans to fund roads, blending Persian and Bactrian art in fort designs. No Pinterest board could match that fusion. Herodotus recounts him entering Samarkand amid cheers, his decrees freeing prisoners and honoring local gods, cementing loyalty. Bactria's lapis mines and Sogdiana's trade routes, linking India to Persia, fuel Achaemenid coffers, like a CEO monetizing a YouTube channel across continents. The nomads, once foes, now guard caravans, their culture woven into the empire's tapestry, sparking exchanges that echo into the Hellenistic era. Conquering without chains? Like streaming a Netflix series that unites rival fandoms, but your stakes are empires, not views. You linger in Samarkand's twilight, the air soft with date palms, merchant songs, and distant winds. The Hindu Kush whispering of an empire's birth as Cyrus's legacy endures. His Bactria Sogdiana campaign, blending guerrilla traps, oasis forts, and mercy, showcased his genius against elusive foes. By honoring nomad ways and building trade hubs, Cyrus forged a multicultural empire, his satrapy system stabilizing wild lands. A tale recounts him vowing on Samarkand's walls, "We fight for unity, not conquest." The camel bells echoing like a viral LinkedIn post, though such tales may romanticize his vision. The region's wealth, lapis, horses, and Silk Road tolls fueled conquests like Babylon, while its riders shaped Achaemenid cavalry. Modern leaders can learn, persuade like his diplomacy, innovate like his forts, unite like his mercy, turning rebels into partners. His humane conquests earned him Shahanshah, a king whose compassion trended across nations, no ex-post needed. In global strategy, emulate Cyrus, blend bold tactics with empathy, like a CEO launching an Instagram campaign to unite a fractured world. Be glad your battles don't involve dodging arrows in a sandstorm. Drift off now, dreaming of Samarkand's forts where Cyrus forged an immortal empire. With the scent of crushed mint lingering in Bactria's dust, can Cyrus tame the Tigris's proud cities next? Wait, hold on. We're getting ahead again. The campaign in Bactria was a major one, but it happened before the main push for Babylon. The chronology is a little fuzzy in some historical accounts, but most place the Lydia and Bactrian campaigns before the grand finale at Babylon. Let's fix that. With the scent of crushed mint lingering in Bactria's dust, can Cyrus tame the gilded gates of Babylon next? You stand on Mesopotamia's moonlit plains with Cyrus, the Tigris's gentle ripples blending with the musky scent of damp reeds and faint temple incense, as a shepherd-turned-king's cunning, forged in Anshan's rugged trails, prepares to breach Babylon's heart. It's September 539 BCE, and Cyrus, his eyes blazing like the sacred flames of Ahura Mazda, leads his Persian army toward Babylon's towering walls. The air hums with the pungent tang of wet clay, flickering torch smoke, and distant frankincense. The clatter of hooves stirring your pulse, as a visionary king dares to reshape the ancient world. Renowned for weaving cunning with compassion, Cyrus turned foes into allies, his conquests forging an empire that spanned continents. No TikTok trends to rally your troops, just the flicker of sacred fires and the hope your strategy goes viral in history's scrolls. Outsmarting Babylon's might, like crafting a perfect Instagram post to outshine a rival influencer, but with arrows instead of filters. Be glad your battles don't involve wading through marshes in the dark. For Cyrus, the Battle of Opis and the fall of Babylon etched his legend as a master of war and mercy. You trek with Cyrus across Mesopotamia's sodden plains, the air thick with the bitter scent of wet reeds and sacred frankincense, the Tigris River's waves lapping at your boots under a starlit sky. It's 539 BCE, and Cyrus, after securing his vast empire from Anatolia to Central Asia, leads 20,000 to 30,000 warriors, Persian light cavalry, Median allies, archers, and engineers, hundreds of miles from Iran's highlands to Babylon's heart. The journey tests endurance, marshy ground clings to boots, humid air chokes lungs, and dwindling grain sacks weigh heavy on weary shoulders. You hear the creak of ox carts, the low murmurs of Median troops, their loyalty kindled by Cyrus's words as he shares sparse rations under moonless nights. The distant chime of Babylonian temple bells echoing through the damp haze. A tale spins of him, pausing on a mound overlooking the Tigris, raising his sword to vow, "Babylon thinks its river shields it, but we'll make the waters our path." Though such words may gild his vision. Cyrus oversees logistics, ensuring waterskins are filled from muddy streams, horses fed scarce fodder, his presence aflame against the damp. Median spies track Babylon's forces, their reports carried through misty marshes. The march braves swarms of mosquitoes, scouts dodging Babylonian patrols, their bronze helmets glinting faintly in the moonlight. Imagine coordinating that without a single WhatsApp group. Villagers, swayed by silver and tales of Marduk's favor, offer grain, and Cyrus pays generously, sowing goodwill. A legend whispers of him kindling a sacred fire before Opus, its flames dancing with the sharp scent of burning cedar, though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Marching through swamps, like filming a TikTok dance in a monsoon, but your audience is an empire, not followers. And honestly, the mosquitoes are probably the worst part. You stand before Opus's fortifications, the air heavy with river mist, and the metallic sheen of polished bronze, the thud of Babylonian war horses, and the faint toll of temple bells, echoing like a gathering storm. King Nabonidus's army, 30,000 to 50,000 strong, defends outposts along the Tigris, 80 kilometers north of Babylon's impregnable walls, bolstered by local levies but weakened by discontent. Babylon's wealth, drawn from Euphrates trade and fertile fields, fields spearmen in scale armor and archers, though their Greek allies vanished with Lydia's fall. The ground squelches underfoot, slick with mud, the humidity cloaking hills where Persian archers struggle with damp bowstrings, their breath misting in the chilly night. No Netflix to unwind after a day of siege prep. Babylon's double walls, 80 feet high and wide enough for chariots, loom in the distance, their moat fed by the Euphrates, a silent taunt. Herodotus tells us Nabonidus, favoring the moon god's sin over Marduk, alienated priests and citizens, believing his fortifications unassailable. A tale spins of Babylonian sentries mocking Cyrus's men as hill tribes, their jeers carried on the damp breeze, stoking Persian resolve like a viral Reddit thread. Facing such a stronghold? Like trying to crack an HBO series' plot armor with a single X post, but your weapon's cunning, not clout. You huddle in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight flickering on weathered faces, the lapping of Tigris waves and soft temple chimes mingling with murmurs of doubt as he plots against a titan. Nabonidus's force, with 30,000 spearmen and archers, thrives behind Tigris fortifications, their numbers dwarfing Persia's 20,000 to 30,000 troops. 6,000 to 8,000 archers, 5,000 light cavalry, Median infantry, and engineers. Harpagus, his voice rough, urges caution, citing the Euphrates' barrier and Babylon's walls. But Cyrus, his eyes alight like sacred flames, rejects retreat, declaring as tales whisper, no river or wall can cage Persia's fire. No Instagram live to broadcast his defiance, just the weight of his words. He opts for psychology, ordering spies to spread tales of Marduk's favor for Cyrus, swaying Babylonian priests and merchants. Cyrus sent emissaries to villages, their cloaks damp with river mist, promising to restore Marduk's temples and protect trade, the scent of frankincense sealing their words. A tale spins of him rallying his men with a fire ritual, its smoke curling with the rich scent of burning resin, though this likely stoked morale more than divine aid. No TikTok filter could capture that glow. The tent buzzes, engineers sketch channels, scouts map riverbanks, and Cyrus paces, weaving strategies from his past campaigns at Sardis and Tyria. Outsmarting a vast empire? Like dropping a viral X post that flips a rival's fan base, but your algorithm's pure genius. You brace for dawn at Opus, the air damp with river mist and the sharp tang of blood, the bellow of charging horses piercing the haze as Cyrus unleashes his gambit. Nabonidus deploys 20,000 spearmen and archers, their shields locked, aiming to crush Persian lines. You hear the clash of spears, the twang of Persian bows, the mud sucking at boots as cavalry darts back, the distant toll of temple bells adding an eerie rhythm. No Spotify playlist to hype the battle. Cyrus sends 5,000 light cavalry to harass supply lines, cutting grain and dates from Babylon's hinterlands, starving Opus's defenders. His 6,000 archers, perched on ridges, loose volleys, felling 1,000 to 2,000 Babylonians. The air grows thick with the metallic tang of blood, wet reeds and frankincense from nearby shrines, the shouts of falling spearmen mingling with rivers' flow. Cyrus leads a 3,000-strong Median cavalry flank through marshes, striking the rear, sowing chaos. Babylonian levies, swayed by tales of Marduk's favor, desert some kneeling to Cyrus, as Herodotus notes. The clash lasts a day, the mist swirling like spirits as Babylon's lines break, leaving 5,000 to 7,000 dead or captured. No Instagram stories to capture the fallout. Cyrus from a muddy knoll signals with tattered banners, his calm defying the fray. The priests of Marduk, swayed by his emissaries, spread whispers of divine betrayal, their voices echoing with the scent of sacred incense, further fracturing Babylonian resolve. Orchestrating such chaos? Like choreographing a TikTok takeover that trends worldwide, but your stage is a blood-soaked battlefield. You march toward Babylon, the air heavy with torch smoke and the sweet scent of victory, the Euphrates' ripples glinting under moonlight, the chime of temple bells heralding change, as Cyrus prepares his masterstroke. After Opus's rout, Cyrus advances on Babylon's 80-foot double walls, their moat fed by the Euphrates, an impassable barrier. Rather than storm them, he orders engineers to divert the river. Herodotus tells us Cyrus had his men dig channels to a nearby basin, working under moonlight to conceal their labor, aided by local farmers bitter at Nabonidus's neglect. You hear the scrape of shovels, the splash of redirected water, the scent of damp clay rising as engineers toil, the frankincense from distant shrines mingling with mud. No Netflix docu-series could dramatize this feat. Over days, the Euphrates' bed lowers to knee-deep, and Cyrus leads 2,000 elite troops through the shallows, entering via river gates during a Babylonian festival as citizens revel unaware. A tale spins of priests opening the gates, swayed by dreams of Marduk's will, their chants blending with the scent of jasmine. The city falls silently, the air sweet with jasmine, incense, and victory, as Persian banners rise over Babylon's ziggurats. No Facebook Live to stream the triumph. Losses are minimal, 1,000, 2,000 Persian troops, mostly at Opus, while Babylon surrenders without a fight, as the Babylonian Chronicle records. Diverting a river? Like hacking an HBO server to rewrite the finale, but your prize is a civilization. You walk Babylon's vibrant streets, the air alive with incense, date wine, and the hum of merchant cheers, the clink of builders restoring temples, and the bustle of markets, as Cyrus's vision shines. His mercy spares Nabonidus, possibly exiled, and Belshazzar, perhaps slain, as the Book of Daniel hints with its writing on the wall. Cyrus restores Marduk's temple, reinstates the Akidu festival, and issues the Cyrus cylinder, proclaiming himself Marduk's chosen. A tale spins of priests kneeling, ringing temple bells, and calling him Marduk's son. Their hymns echoing with the scent of burning myrrh, though this may be propaganda. He appoints satraps like Gobryas, preserving Babylon's canals, markets, and tax systems, ensuring its grain, gold, and trade routes linking Egypt to India. Fuel Achaemenid coffers. Mesopotamia's libraries with clay tablets of astronomy and law blend with Persian ideals, sparking exchanges that echo into the Hellenistic era. No Netflix algorithm could curate that legacy. A legend whispers Cyrus used Babylon's gold for a temple to Ahura Mazda at Pasargadae, the scent of sacred cedar marking his devotion, though this likely gilds his myth. Herodotus recounts him entering Babylon amid flowers, his decrees freeing exiles like the Jews, cementing loyalty across nations. The priests of Marduk, once Nabonidus's foes, now draft hymns praising Cyrus, their influence ensuring stability. Babylon's markets thrive, its taxes fund roads and satrapies, weaving a multicultural empire, like a CEO live streaming unity on Instagram to win over a global audience. Conquering without bloodshed? Like dropping a Netflix special that wins every Emmy, but your stakes are empires. You linger in Babylon's twilight, the air soft with date palms, temple incense, and distant hymns, the Euphrates whispering of an empire's birth as Cyrus's legacy endure. His Opus triumph and Babylon's fall, blending psychological ploys, river tactics, and mercy, showcased his genius against a richer foe. By honoring Marduk, freeing exiles, and preserving trade, Cyrus built a multicultural empire, his satrapy system stabilizing diverse lands. A tale recounts him vowing on Babylon's gates, "We fight for justice, not gold." The temple bells echoing with the scent of sacred resins like a viral ex-post, though such tales may romanticize his vision. Babylon's wealth, grain, gold, and roots linking Persia to the Mediterranean, fueled conquests like Egypt, while its scholars shaped Achaemenid science, from star charts to legal codes. Modern leaders can learn, persuade like his Marduk propaganda, innovate like his river ploy, unite like his mercy, turning rivals into partners. His humane conquests earned him Shahanshah, a king whose compassion went viral across nations, no Twitter needed. In crisis management, emulate Cyrus. Blend bold innovation with empathy, like a CEO dropping a TikTok series to unite a fractured market. Be glad your challenges don't involve diverting rivers in the dark. Drift off now, dreaming of Babylon's gates where Cyrus forged an immortal empire. With Babylon's glory claimed, can Cyrus conquer the fierce Massagetæ? Picture the cold steppe, where dust swirls and nomad hooves thunder under a steel-gray sky. As a king, forged in Anshan's starlit nights, faces Queen Tamiris in his final stand. You tread the windswept Central Asian steppe with Cyrus, the brittle grass crunching underfoot, the air thick with the bitter scent of leather and faint campfire smoke. As a shepherd-turned-king, forged in Anshan's starlit nights, braces for his final clash with Queen Tamiris. It's 530 BCE, and Cyrus, his weathered face lit by the fire of Ahura Mazda, rides at the head of his Persian army, facing the fierce nomads led by Queen Tamiris. The air hums with dust, horse sweat, and the sharp tang of blood, your heart pounding as a legendary king stakes his empire on one final conquest. Known for blending genius with mercy, Cyrus forged an empire from Anatolia to India, his vision sharper than any blade. No TikTok skits to lure your foes, just cunning traps and the hope your legacy goes viral in history's annals. Outwitting nomad archers, like crafting an Instagram hashtag that flips a rival's followers, but with arrows instead of likes. Be glad your battles don't involve facing nomad archers in a desert storm. For Cyrus, the Massagetæ campaign carved his final, tragic chapter as a titan of valor and vision. You trek with Cyrus across the endless steppe, the air thick with dust and the acrid scent of scorched grass, the chill of night piercing your cloak as distant wolf howls echo like war horns. It's 530 BCE, and Cyrus, past 60 yet unbowed, leads 20,000 to 30,000 warriors, Persian cavalry, Median archers, and infantry through the Kizilkum desert toward the Amu Darya. The journey grinds resolve. Blistering days burn skin, freezing nights numb fingers, and dwindling supplies weigh on starving men. You hear the creak of camel packs, the weary chants of soldiers, their spirits lifted as Cyrus shares dry bread under starlight, the faint rustle of grass whispering like a warrior's vow. A tale spins of him standing on a dune, sword raised, declaring, "This steppe may be my grave, but it will sing of Persia's glory," though such words may embellish his fire. Cyrus's genius shines, poring over scout reports, predicting Tamiris's raids with eerie precision, his Mede spies mapping nomad trails in the dark. The march braves sandstorms, scouts dodging nomad arrows, their bronze tips glinting in fleeting moonlight. Imagine coordinating that without a single WhatsApp event page. Villagers offer sparse barley, swayed by Cyrus's silver and tales of justice. A tale whispers of him kindling a sacred fire, its smoke curling with the sharp scent of burning sage, his men's silence a testament to his divine aura, though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Trekking through deserts, like shooting a Netflix epic with no crew, but your prize is an empire's frontier. And you thought your commute was tough. You faced the Massagetæ's shadow on the steppe, the air heavy with dust and the tense scent of horse sweat, the whinny of nomad horses and the twang of their bows cutting through dawn's haze. Queen Tamiris's force, 10,000 to 15,000 strong, mostly mounted archers, sweeps the plain, their composite bows and swift ponies a blur of death. The ground crunches with dry grass, the wind stings with sand, the horizon blurring where Persian archers fumble damp strings. No HBO war drama could capture this dread. The open steppe favors the nomads' hit-and-run tactics, mocking Persian formations. Herodotus tells us Tamiris, fierce and cunning, vowed to bury Cyrus in her sands, her warriors' cries echoing like a storm. A tale spins of their scouts taunting, "Your king's too old for our steppe," Their laughter carried on the biting wind, fueling Cyrus's resolve like a viral Reddit roast. Facing such elusive foes, like chasing a TikTok trend that vanishes before you post, but your weapon's guile, not clout. You huddle in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight dancing on grizzled faces, the howl of steppe winds and the distant clatter of nomad hooves stirring fear as he weaves a masterstroke. Tamiris's 10,000 to 15,000 nomads, with swift cavalry and archers, thrive on the steppe's vastness. Hystaspas urges retreat to Bactria, citing stretched supplies and nomad ambushes. But Cyrus, his eyes blazing like sacred flames, scoffs at caution, vowing as tales whisper, no steppe will break Persia's fire. No Instagram live to stream his defiance, just the weight of his genius. This is pure, unadulterated King of Kings energy right here. Advised by Croesus, his captive-turned-counselor, Cyrus plans a trap, exploiting the nomads' thirst for loot with a baited camp. Cyrus sent envoys to wavering tribes, their cloaks dusted with sand, offering gold and honor, the scent of roasted meat sealing their words, swaying 500 warriors from Tamiris's allies. A tale spins of him kindling a fire ritual, its smoke rising with the musky scent of burning pitch, though this likely stoked morale more than divine favor. No TikTok filter could frame that blaze. The tent hums. Engineers sketch rafts for the Amudarya. Spies map nomad paths, and Cyrus paces, his mind sharp from Thapsacus's lessons, analyzing the nomads' guerrilla tactics with surgical precision. Outwitting nomads? Like launching an X-post that flips a rival's tribe, but your algorithm's pure cunning. You brace for dusk on the steppe, the air thick with fog and the sharp tang of blood. The scream of Massagete ponies and the zip of their arrows piercing the haze, as Cyrus springs his daring trap. In a heart-pounding ruse, Cyrus abandons a camp laden with Babylonian wine and roasted meat, luring Spargapice's 5,000 nomads to feast. You hear the clink of goblets, the drunken laughs of Massagete, the crackle of fires, and the scent of roasted meat as Cyrus leads 10,000 men through the fog, an arrow grazing his helm as he charges. Herodotus recounts how Cyrus struck at midnight, his cavalry and archers slaughtering 1,000 drunken nomads, capturing Spargapices. The air grows heavy with blood, smoke, and trampled grass, the chaos of breaking ranks mingling with wind's wail. No Spotify battle track could match this frenzy. A tale spins of Cyrus, seeing Spargapices' shame, offering mercy, urging him to join Persia, the scent of burning grass lingering, only for the prince to take his life with a dagger. The raid rages, the fog swirling like spirits as nomads scatter, leaving 2,000 dead. No Instagram stories to capture the triumph. Cyrus, atop a dune, signals with a tattered banner, his calm defying the storm, his genius briefly humbling Tamiris. Orchestrating such a ploy, like scripting an HBO twist that shocks the world, but your stage is a blood-soaked desert. You march deeper into the steppe, the air sharp with smoke and the bitter scent of fear. The Amudarya's ripples glinting under moonlight as Cyrus faces Tamiris's wrath with unmatched audacity. In a daring raid, Cyrus targets nomad supply caches, torching horse fodder as guards flee. You hear the roar of flames, the panicked whinnies, the faint scent of burning fodder, your breath catching as Cyrus's blade fells a nomad scout in a swift duel. Herodotus tells us Tamiris, enraged by her son's death, rallied 12,000 warriors, luring Cyrus deeper with feigned retreats. His envoys sway 500 nomads with gold, but Tamiris's iron will hold her tribes firm. A tale spins of her vowing over her son's pyre, her words chilling the steppe with the scent of burning resin, though this may be legend. The plain hums with Persian banners falling to ambushes. No eBay listing could rival that loss. Losses mount, 5,000 Persians to nomad arrows, as Tamiris's archers weaken Cyrus's lines. Cutting nomad supplies? Like crashing a Netflix stream to starve a rival's fans, but your prize is survival. You stand in the final clash, the steppe choked with dust and the metallic tang of blood, the wail of winds and the thud of hooves deafening, as Cyrus makes his last stand with immortal courage. Tamiris's nomads encircle 15,000 Persians, their arrows raining from all sides. You hear the scream of wounded horses, the crunch of grass under boots, your heart racing as Cyrus charges, his sword flashing, a nomad lance piercing his side after felling a warrior in close combat. Herodotus recounts how Cyrus fought 3 days, inspiring his men till the end, falling amid 10,000 Persian dead. A tale spins of Tamiris honoring his valor, the scent of trampled grass mingling with her grim act, dipping his head in blood, sealing her legend as a vengeful queen. The steppe hums with loss, the wind carrying cries. No YouTube epic could frame this tragedy. Cyrus's body, per some sources, returns to Pasargadae, his empire enduring under Cambyses II. Dying in battle? Like dropping a Netflix finale that breaks the internet, but your cost is eternity. You linger on the quiet steppe, the air soft with fading smoke, distant hoofbeats, and the scent of starlit grass, the dunes whispering of a titan's fall, as Cyrus's legacy blazes eternal. His Massageté campaign, blending wine traps, daring raids, and unyielding courage, showcased his genius against nomad fury, though it ended in tragedy. By sparing Croesus, building bridges across the Amu Darya, and planning for Silk Road stability, Cyrus ensured his empire's survival. A tale recounts him vowing by the Amu Darya, "We fight for eternity, not conquest," the wind echoing with the scent of sage like a viral TikTok sound, though such tales may gild his myth. His satrapies in Bactria and Sogdia held firm, securing trade routes for centuries. His foresight in analyzing nomad tactics, daring in leading charges, and compassion in offering mercy mark him as a titan. Modern leaders can learn. Innovate like his wine ploy, endure like his desert march, unite like his diplomacy, turning foes into partners. His sacrifice earned him Shahanshah, a king whose vision trended across ages. No X hashtag needed. Emulate Cyrus, blend daring with wisdom, like a CEO launching a TikTok skit to unite a fractured world. Be glad your battles don't involve facing nomad archers in a desert storm. Drift off now, dreaming of the Amu Darya's banks where Cyrus forged an immortal legacy. With the steppe silent under Cyrus's shadow, how will his empire shape the world he left behind? Having faced the Massageté's fury on the steppe, could Cyrus now unify a vast empire with justice and guile? Picture yourself in Pasargadae's limestone halls, where torchlight flickers on carved reliefs, the scent of sacred fires and blooming jasmine mingling with the hum of scribes etching decrees. It's 539 BCE, and Cyrus, his eyes alight with the wisdom of Ahura Mazda, crafts a realm stretching from Anatolia to India, binding tribes with mercy, not chains. The air hums with papyrus, incense, and the clatter of hooves on the royal road, your heart racing, as a visionary king forges unity from chaos. Renowned for blending compassion with cunning, Cyrus reshaped empires with satrapies, roads, and decrees of tolerance. No TikTok algorithm to govern your tribes, just scrolls and the hope your vision trends across nations. Unite a diverse empire? Like crafting an Instagram campaign that wins every heart, but with decrees instead of filters. Be glad your leadership doesn't involve uniting tribes from Babylon to Bactria. For Cyrus, his reforms and governance wove a legacy of justice and complexity. You walk with Cyrus through Pasargadae's rising gardens, the air rich with blooming jasmine and the faint scent of limestone dust, the distant clink of masons carving limestone, the cool night whispering of a king's ambition. After conquering the Medes, Lydia, and Babylon, Cyrus rules a realm of countless tongues. Greeks in Ionia, Jews in Judea, nomads in Sogdia. The journey tests resolve, dusty trails from Susa to Sardis, the weight of scrolls detailing taxes, and the murmurs of restless satraps. You hear the rustle of papyrus, the low chants of Zoroastrian priests, their loyalty kindled as Cyrus shares bread with soldiers under starlight, the faint breeze carrying echoes of distant caravans. A tale spins of him standing in Pasargadae's audience hall, sword at his side, vowing, "This empire will stand on justice, not fear," though such words may gild his vision. Cyrus's genius shines, poring over reports from his eyes and ears, predicting rebellions with eerie precision. The trek spans deserts and cities, spies dodging traitors, their cloaks blending with the twilight. Imagine coordinating that without a single WhatsApp group chat. Locals offer grain, swayed by Cyrus's silver and tales of mercy. A tale whispers of him lighting a sacred fire, its smoke curling with the rich scent of burning cedar. The silence of his court, a testament to his aura, though this likely rallied hearts more than gods. Ruling such diversity? Like filming a Netflix epic with no script, but your prize is a united empire. Seriously, that's a whole other level of pressure. You stand in Babylon's bustling markets, the air heavy with spice and the sweet aroma of date wine, the murmur of merchants and the gleam of gold coins signaling Cyrus's triumph. After 539 BCE, his empire spans seas and steppes, its peoples, Babylonians, Lydians, Bactrians, divided by gods and tongues. The streets hum with Aramaic chants, the Tigris ripples under moonlight, the horizon blurring where scribes etch decrees. No HBO saga could capture this vibrancy. Herodotus tells us Cyrus, guided by Zoroastrian Asha, chose mercy over force, unlike Assyrian tyrants. A tale spins of Babylonian priests hailing him as Marduk's chosen, their incense rising with the scent of myrrh, though this may be propaganda. Facing such diversity, like chasing a TikTok trend that shifts with every tribe, but your weapon's wisdom, not clout. You huddle in Cyrus's command tent, torchlight flickering on weathered maps, the distant clatter of royal road couriers, and the musky scent of burning cedar stirring hope, as he crafts a revolutionary system. His empire, with 20 satrapies, teeters on chaos. Pacty's rebellion in Lydia looms large. Hystaspes urges harsh rule, but Cyrus, his voice steady like sacred flames, declares as tales whisper, justice binds stronger than chains. No Instagram Live to broadcast his vision, just the weight of his will. He designed the satrapy system, appointing local nobles like Pacties, while placing Persian overseers to curb betrayal. His eyes and ears spies, cloaked in shadow, report whispers of dissent. A tale spins of him settling a Sogdian land dispute, his fair verdict silencing feuds, the scent of desert dust mingling with awe. No TikTok filter could frame that resolve. The tent buzzes, engineers sketch royal road routes, scribes draft the Cyrus cylinder, and Cyrus paces, weaving lessons from Babylon's fall. Crafting such order? Like launching an X campaign that unites rival factions, but your algorithm's pure genius. You ride the royal road, the air sharp with dust and the tang of horse sweat, the thunder of hooves, and the creak of relay stations heralding Cyrus's vision. His 2,400 kilometers road from Susa to Sardis with fortified posts every 20 kilometers speeds couriers in 7 days. You hear the jingle of harnesses, the shouts of Piratazish riders, your pulse quickening as Cyrus inspects a station, his cloak dusted from the trail. Herodotus recounts how the Chapar Khane system ensured messages flew faster than wind, binding satrapies. In Pasargadae, his limestone palaces rise, their gardens blooming with Paradise symmetry, blending Persian austerity with Babylonian splendor. A tale spins of Cyrus walking these gardens with Cassandane, her laughter echoing with the scent of blooming roses, though her tomb's shadow haunts him. The road hums with trade, Lydian gold, Bactrian gems. No Spotify anthem could match this pulse. Cyrus's immortals, 10,000 strong, patrol these routes, their bronze gleaming in sacred rituals. Building such a network, like scripting an HBO epic that connects a fractured world, but your stage is a continent. You kneel in Babylon's temple, the air thick with incense and the soft chant of priests, the Tigris' flow, and the scratch of styluses on clay heralding Cyrus's mercy. In 539 BCE, he issues the Cyrus cylinder, proclaiming himself Marduk's chosen, freeing exiles and restoring shrines. You hear the murmur of crowds, the clink of clay tablets, your breath catching as Cyrus decrees freedom for Jews to rebuild Jerusalem's temple. Herodotus tells us this edict of restoration won Judea's loyalty, a strategic buffer against Egypt. A tale spins of a Babylonian elder offering his staff in tribute, the scent of burning myrrh sealing his respect, though this may be propaganda to mask conquest's blood. The temple hums with gratitude, yet whispers of Opus's massacres linger. No Instagram stories could hide that shadow. Cyrus's tolerance, honoring Marduk, Yahweh, Apollo, binds tribes, though his violence at Opus and Sogdia reveals a ruthless edge. Proclaiming such mercy, like dropping a Netflix special that wins rival hearts, but your cost is blood. You linger in Pasargadae's quiet halls, the air heavy with limestone dust and the scent of sacred fires. The distant chant of priests and the rustle of silk whispering of a titan's legacy, as Cyrus's shadow endures. His satrapies, royal road, and immortals stabilized a diverse realm, while his cylinder and edict wove mercy into power. By honoring gods from Marduk to Yahweh, Cyrus embodied Asha, yet his violence at Opus and Sogdia reveals a pragmatic core. A tale recounts him praying by a sacred fire, vowing unity is our strength, the flames dancing with the scent of cedar like a viral TikTok sound, though such tales may gild his myth. His system inspired Rome and modern federations, his mercy shaping human rights. Modern leaders can learn, Govern like his satrapies, connect like his roads, unite like his tolerance, balancing justice with guile. His vision earned him Shahanshah, a king whose legacy trended across ages, no X-campaign needed. Emulate Cyrus. Blend mercy with cunning, like a CEO launching a TikTok algorithm to unite a fractured world. Be glad your leadership doesn't involve uniting tribes from Babylon to Bactria. Drift off now, dreaming of Pasargade's gardens where Cyrus forged an immortal legacy. With Cyrus's empire thriving under starlit skies, how will his legacy shape the ages beyond his tomb? With an empire forged by justice and reform, could the heart of Cyrus the Great reveal the man behind the crown? Picture yourself in Pasargade's torchlit gardens, the whisper of linen robes blending with the flicker of altar flames, the scent of jasmine and sacred cedar weaving a fragile peace. It's 539 BCE, and Cyrus, his eyes reflecting Anshan's starlit skies, balances a realm's weight with a man's joys and doubts. The air hums with desert roses and the soft strum of a lyre, your pulse quickening as a king's hidden world unfolds. No fleeting scroll to bear his soul, just whispered tales and sacred fires. Living as both king and man, like forging a realm with no rest, weaving loyalty through shadowed nights. Dim your lights, sink into your cozy blankets, and let the murmur of a Persian night guide you into Cyrus the Great's heart and its shadows. You sit by a campfire on Anshan's plains, the canvas tent flapping in the evening breeze, the earthy tang of barley stew mingling with the smoke of a dying fire. It's 540 BCE, and Cyrus, Shahanshah of the Achaemenids, shares bread with his generals, Persian, Median, Babylonian. His laughter warm, his shepherd's humility untouched by conquest. Each dawn, he kneels before a sacred fire, praying for wisdom, steadying his men as much as his soul. His wife, Cassandane, his heart's anchor, counsels him with fierce grace. Her death in 537 BCE prompts a grand tomb, its stones whispering his grief under starlight. Their children, Cambyses, bold but shadowed by ambition, Bardia, whose rumored rivalry stirs court whispers, and Atossa, whose wit later shapes a future king's throne, fill Pasargade's halls with life. Picture Cyrus teaching Cambyses to string a bow under starlight, his calloused hands gentle, the scent of desert grass clinging to his cloak, though family tensions simmer. In Babylon's bustling markets, he walks among merchants, freeing exiles and honoring local customs, weaving cooperation from conquered hearts. A tale spins of him pausing in a market, the scent of fresh bread warming his smile as he listens to a merchant's plea, though this may gild his humility. It's a lot to handle, being both a king and a father. You pace Susa's bustling halls, the air thick with incense and the scratch of scribes on clay, as Cyrus navigates court and kin. A Median princess may have joined his harem to seal his victory over his grandfather. A ruthless betrayal that fractures family ties. His spies, known as the eyes and ears, root out disloyalty, but distant governors, wielding power unchecked, test his grasp across vast deserts. A famed decree paints him as chosen by Babylon's gods, cloaking his noble roots in a shepherd's tale, perhaps masking internal feuds. His faith in truth and order shapes his rule, yet he honors foreign gods to bind his realm, a pragmatic dance. Whispers claim a chronic illness weakened him by 530 BCE, the scent of medicinal herbs lingering in his chambers, clouding his judgment before his final campaign. Did the shepherd who shared rations ever doubt his path, staring at the stars? You stand on the step's edge, the air sharp with dust and the wail of nomad horns, the bitter scent of blood echoing as Cyrus's moral shadows loom. His mercy, sparing rival kings, freeing exiles, made him a legend. Yet at Opis, captives fell under Persian blades. In distant eastern lands, he razed rebel villages, their ashes a grim warning carried on the wind. A tale claims he prayed for forgiveness by a sacred fire, its smoke curling with the scent of burning resin, though this may gild his remorse. Wielding mercy and terror? Like crafting a narrative that sways millions, but at the cost of blood. You linger in Pasargade's twilight, the air soft with jasmine and the whisper of sacred fires. The distant chant of priests weaving Cyrus's heart into eternity. His mercy, family bonds, and faith in Asha shaped an empire. Yet his betrayals and violence reveal a complex soul. A legend recounts him gazing at Cassandane's tomb, the scent of desert roses mingling with his grief, vowing to unite his realm for her, though such tales may romanticize his love. His vision inspired loyalty across nations, from Babylon's markets to Sogdia's steppes. Modern leaders can learn, lead with his humility, balance mercy with strength, weave unity from diversity, like a CEO crafting a LinkedIn post that bridges divides. His life earned him Shahanshah, a king whose heart trended across ages. No ex-post needed. Be glad your challenges don't involve ruling with a shepherd's soul. Drift off now, dreaming of Pasargade's gardens where Cyrus's shadow endures. With his heart and shadows laid bare, what legacy will Cyrus leave beyond his mortal days? Having unified a vast empire with justice, could Cyrus's death in 530 BCE cement his legacy as the King of Kings? Picture yourself on the windswept Central Asian steppe, where cold gusts carry the scent of dry grass and smoldering campfires, the thunder of hooves echoing under a steel-gray sky. It's 530 BCE, and Cyrus, his weathered face aglow with the fire of Ahura Mazda, faces his final hour, whether in battle's chaos or Pasargade's quiet halls. The air hums with dust, blood, and the faint chime of bronze, your heart pounding as a titan stakes his immortality. Known for blending conquest with mercy, Cyrus forged an empire of 50 million souls, from Anatolia to India. No TikTok manifesto to proclaim your reign, just clay tablets and the hope your vision trends through time. Crafting a legacy across nations, like posting an Instagram federation that unites every tribe, but with decrees instead of reels. Be glad your legacy doesn't involve forging an empire across deserts and seas. For Cyrus, his death and enduring works wove a tapestry of justice, power, and myth. You stand on the Masagete's blood-soaked steppe, the air thick with fog and the sharp tang of iron, the scream of horses and the zip of nomad arrows piercing the dusk, as Cyrus meets his fate. In 530 BCE, Cyrus leads 20,000 Persians against Queen Tamiris's fierce nomads, his trap of wine-laced camps shattering their ranks, only to face her wrath. You hear the clash of steel, the wail of wind through grass, your pulse racing as an arrow grazes Cyrus's helm, his sword flashing in defiance. Herodotus tells us Tamiris's cavalry encircled his forces, felling 10,000 Persians, with Cyrus struck down after 3 days of valor, his blood staining the steppe. A tale spins of Tamiris dipping his head in blood, vowing, "You craved war, now drink its fill." The scent of trampled grass sealing her legend, though this may gild her fury. The steppe hums with loss, the dust swirling like spirits. No Netflix epic could capture this tragedy. Yet Xenophon notes a gentler end. Cyrus dying in Pasargade's halls, his voice steady as he counsels Cambyses the scent of cedar lingering in the air. Ctesias claims wounds from a nomad lance took him, a warrior's end. Facing such a finale, like dropping an HBO finale that breaks the ages but your cost is eternity. You kneel before Pasargade's limestone tomb, the air soft with jasmine and the whisper of wind, the six-tiered stone glowing under moonlight as Cyrus's spirit rests. His modest tomb, etched with, "I am Cyrus, king of the world, envy not my resting place," stands stark against ancient opulence. You hear the rustle of priests' robes, the crackle of a sacred fire, your breath catching as Alexander, centuries later, bows in awe, ordering its protection. A folklore claims Ahura Mazda guards the tomb, cursing intruders, its white stone glowing with the scent of sacred oils, a beacon of humility and might. UNESCO's seal now crowns it, tying Cyrus's shadow to modernity. The silence hums with reverence, the stars above Pasargadae unyielding. No Instagram shrine could match this sanctity. Cyrus's body, born from the steppe, rests here, his legacy carved in stone and time. Building such a monument? Like crafting an legacy that outlives empires, but your canvas is eternity. You ride the royal road's dusty trails, the air sharp with horse sweat and the jingle of couriers, the 2,400-kilometer path from Susa to Sardis pulsing with Cyrus's vision. His satrapy system, binding 20 provinces, thrives under Cambyses II and Darius I, each governor blending local rule with Persian oversight. You hear the thunder of hooves, the shouts of Pirdazish riders, your heart swelling as Cyrus's immortals, 10,000 strong, patrol with gleaming bronze. Herodotus recounts how the Chaparcanis system sped messages in 7 days, knitting an empire of 50 million. A tale spins of Cyrus riding the road himself, testing its relays, the scent of desert dust clinging to his cloak, though this may be myth. The road hums with trade, Lydian gold, Bactrian gems. No Spotify caravan could match this rhythm. His reforms, taxes, roads, garrisons, held Achaemenid firm till 330 BCE. Forging such a network, like launching a TikTok relay that connects a continent, but your signals stone and will. You stand in Babylon's temple, the air thick with incense and the chant of priests, the Tigris' ripples and the scratch of styluses heralding Cyrus's mercy. In 539 BCE, his Cyrus cylinder proclaims him Marduk's chosen, freeing exiles and restoring shrines. You hear the murmur of grateful crowds, the clink of clay tablets, your pulse quickening as Cyrus's edict of restoration sends Jews to rebuild Jerusalem's temple. The Hebrew Bible hails him as Messiah, his decree a shield for Judea. A tale spins of a Babylonian elder kneeling, offering his staff, the scent of burning myrrh sealing his tribute, though propaganda may veil Opus's blood. The temple hums with hope, yet whispers of conquest linger. No YouTube scroll could hide that shadow. Cyrus's tolerance, honoring Marduk, Yahweh, Apollo, wove unity, inspiring Christianity and Islam. Proclaiming such mercy? Like streaming a Netflix sermon that wins rival souls, but your stage is faith. You linger in Pasargadae's gardens, the air soft with blooming paradisa and the rustle of silk, the distant chant of priests whispering of Cyrus's eternal reign. His satrapies inspired Rome's provinces, Ottoman millets, and modern federations like America and India. You hear the trickle of irrigation channels, the low hum of scribes, your heart warmed as Cyrus's vision spans centuries, from Susa to Jefferson's desk. Xenophon's Cyropedia paints him as the ideal ruler, echoed in Machiavelli's The Prince, his balance of might and mercy a guide. A tale spins of Bactrian nomads believing he became a spirit, guarding the steppe, the scent of sage rising, though this may be Achaemenid propaganda. The gardens hum with legacy, their symmetry unyielding. No Instagram mosaic could frame this grandeur. In Iran, Cyrus is the father of a nation, his cylinder a UN beacon of rights. Shaping such a myth, like crafting an HBO legend that outlives time, but your script is truth. You walk through history's halls, the air heavy with dust and the scent of ancient scrolls, the echoes of Cyrus's deeds resounding from Rome to modernity as his legacy endures. His empire, 2 million square miles, 50 million souls, set a blueprint for governance, from satrapies to America's states. You hear the whisper of ancient scribes, the clatter of coins, your breath steady as Cyrus's mercy shapes faiths and nations. His cylinder, though propaganda, inspired human rights, while his tomb's simplicity awed Alexander. A tale recounts him vowing by a sacred fire, "Unity is our eternity," the flames dancing with the scent of cedar like a viral TikTok sound, though such words may embellish his fire. His reign hums across ages from Shahnameh to UN halls. No X-saga could match this scope. Modern leaders can learn, unite like his satrapies, connect like his roads, inspire like his mercy, balancing power with justice. His sacrifice earned him Shahanshah, a king whose vision trended through time. No Instagram federation needed. Emulate Cyrus. Blend courage with compassion, like a CEO launching a TikTok manifesto to unite a fractured world. Be glad your legacy doesn't involve forging an empire across deserts and seas. Drift off now, dreaming of Pasargadae's tomb where Cyrus forged an immortal legacy. We've wandered through the timeless saga of history, where Cyrus, a shepherd boy, touched by prophecy, rose to become Shahanshah, king of kings, forging an empire with unmatched wisdom and heart. From the windswept steppes of Central Asia, where the bitter scent of trampled grass mingles with nomad war cries, to the sunlit limestone halls of Pasargadae, glowing with the musky aroma of sacred cedar, from the bustling markets of Babylon to the sacred fires of Persia, Cyrus wove conquest, mercy, and vision into a realm that spanned from Anatolia to India. Herodotus whispers of a child spared by fate, raised among shepherds, destined to unite 50 million souls under a banner of justice. His throne was not just a seat of power. It was a crucible of dreams, trials, and triumphs. From the clay-etched Cyrus cylinder, its cool surface carrying the faint scent of Tigris mud, to the humble tomb that awed Alexander. Whether he fell amid the blood-soaked grass of the Mesozoic, the air heavy with iron and dust, or passed in Pasargadae's quiet embrace, his legacy burns eternal, shaping empires from Rome to the modern world. Picture the soft rustle of desert winds, the crackle of sacred fires, and the glow of moonlight on his tomb. Your heart hums with the echo of his name. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep these legendary tales alive. Your support fuels our time machine, unearthing more stories that inspire and awe. Tell us in the comments, what makes Cyrus the Great your greatest king? His boundless mercy that freed nations, his cunning that built the satrapies, or his myth as a shepherd turned Shahanshah that still captivates the world? Are you still awake, lost in his glory? Let your thoughts drift, share them below, and help us keep history's fire burning. Your clicks and comments are our spark. Join us, and let's journey through the ages together again soon.